Everything You Want, the second single from Matt Rogers' new album Have You Heard of Christmas, he croons about sending holiday tidings to a former flame who, as it turns out, he can't quite remember. Gifted you my heart and swore a lifetime of my love. You've gone away now, he sings. Go get everything you want even if you can't give that from me. All the stuff you like, which I forgot. The song, which is also a collaboration with Katie Gavin of MUNA, was one of the last he added to the tracklist. The collection began as new recordings of songs the actor and writer has been performing as part of his musical comedy tour of the same name, but Rogers felt it was missing something a little more emo. I needed a song that went full Pisces, he says with a laugh. My Spotify is all mid-tempo sad girl music. And part of being a Pisces means that my shame won't let me leave anything in the past. Rogers, who also hosts the popular and GLAAD-nominated podcast Las Culturistas with longtime friend Bowen Yang and has acted in Fire Island and I Love That For You, is talking to The Hollywood Reporter over pumpkin beers at one of his favorite haunts from his improv days. He's been head down in holiday mode for months now, recording, shooting music videos, and prepping a national tour to follow the album's November 3rd release. But here in Midtown, it's still the Halloween season for a few more days. It's been a complicated time to be in the entertainment industry, with so many projects on hold or getting lost in the studio and networks near constant pivots to reusable IP. I Love That For You, the Showtime series in which Rogers starred alongside Vanessa Bayer and Molly Shannon, was canceled a month into the writers' strike and has recently disappeared off of the Paramount Plus streaming platform to the shock of the cast. I was really excited for the romantic storyline I was going to have in the second season, but whenever a disappointment happens, I try not to take it too hard, he says. I reserve that for my personal life. That Pisces is going to come out somewhere. Rogers, who is a member of both WGA and SAG, feels grateful to have interesting and successful creative ventures during an otherwise erratic cultural moment and also to be fulfilling a long-time dream of performing musical theater. He grew up on Long Island, a self-described sports kid with a sports dad. During high school, he was prom king and captain of the track team, thriving on the outside but harboring a hidden queer identity and thirst for the arts. A year spent at NYU, where he originally intended to study journalism, helped him find the courage to come out and to admit to himself that what he really wanted to do was sing, dance, and act. I spent so much energy in high school pretending I was an all-American jock, and I couldn't lie for another 4 years, and certainly not with all those hot guys around, he says. Thank God I was good at this, ultimately. Most people would have tried performing as a kid and learned about their skills. I hadn't even had my chance to figure out if I was a flop. After college, Rogers spent several years performing a version of what has now become the Christmas show at the Duplex in the West Village, building out both his voice and his confidence in his voice. Now, as he sits for this interview just 2 weeks out from the release of his debut album, he feels completely in his own power as a singer and only a tiny bit uncomfortable about asking people to listen. Here, he talks more about the way the album came together, what he learned from the podcast, and how he's rewarding himself for the hard work. How did you go from music being a passion of yours to something you focused on specifically? Years ago, Bowen and I were starting to find success with the podcast and became sort of a package deal here in New York. We got the opportunity to audition for Saturday Night Live, and he got it, and I didn't. I was half heartbroken and half, like, well, what's my other thing going to be? I should grow up a little bit here. I went out to LA and got a job writing on the other 2 seasons too. I feel tempted to stop you there. I had an experience doing that. I wrote next on Q-Force, the animated Netflix show, and became part of the cast for that, because I can't hide the fact that I want to perform. It was shortly after that I booked I Love That For You. Then that only lasted 1 season, and I went back to the drawing board of, what is my thing? It seemed like a good time to focus my attention on a Christmas album.